I made a video recently about Switzerland being a sort of golden cage, and I wanted to follow up on that video because I started researching a little bit more, and then I pulled up a few stats that I wanted to share with everyone because I wanted to highlight two concrete things that everyone here in Switzerland can do to escape that sort of golden cage. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to highlight that usually here, the sort of golden cage term is used to signify the fact that you are locked into a sort of lifestyle and you can't, especially within like the pool of expats that live here, that you can't leave because you're doing too well and you can't downgrade from that. And I wouldn't use it that way, to be honest. For me, the golden cage analogy means that you're trapped in a sort of lifestyle, and I associate it a lot with this sort of lifestyle inflation that I talked about in that video that I made. So let's get into the statistics that I pulled up. Firstly, 60% of private household assets in Switzerland sit in low interest and bank deposits. And here, especially if you're watching from outside of Switzerland and you don't live here, there is no such thing as a high yield savings account here in Switzerland. So I know that if you're in the US or in some European countries, you might be able to take advantage of these 4 or 5% high interest savings accounts. That doesn't exist here. It does not exist in Switzerland. So the SNB, so the Swiss National Bank, it doesn't pay commercial banks interest to hold their cash because they have set the interest rate to 0%. And unlike the US Fed or the European Central Bank, where interest rates are set high, this scenario doesn't apply here. And the second reason is that there is already a liquidity surplus in Swiss banks. So they don't need to lure they don't need to incentivize you to bring in your cash because they already have enough. So there's no use case for them to need to do that. So all of that is to say that even though inflation is low, obviously, it still creeps up over time, prices rise and so on. So you can't just let your money sit in a bank account with basically no interest. Well, you can, but you're going to lose by doing so. So the only way to get ahead is to invest. So in other countries, if you're very, very risk averse, you might just want to park all your money in a high interest savings account and not invest it if you can't stomach like the market fluctuations. However, here in Switzerland, like we just established, you can't really do that. So you have to invest. Now, before we get into that, I think it's important to talk about how to come up with the money to invest. And a lot of people, just talk about salaries. I think salaries in Switzerland are already quite high. So most people should, at least at some point in their life, have money to invest. And to make sure that you are able to set aside that money, you should first tackle your fixed costs. And this goes for all income brackets because you can be at basically any sort of income bracket and just blow all your money. And if you don't believe me, you can read up on what happened to the Vanderbilt family. They were once America's richest family, and over time, they lost all of their wealth. So there is no amount of money that can't be blown away, maybe not within one single lifetime, but generationally, certainly. So the most important lesson for every single income bracket is to keep the fixed costs low. And in Switzerland, one of the biggest fixed costs for most people, for the vast majority of people, will be for housing. And that's especially in the larger cities like Zurich and Geneva, because rents are so high in these cities. So if we just look at a couple of examples, I'm just going to use Zurich as an example because I know the neighborhoods and the price points. So I've pulled up a few listings. If you choose to live in Seefeld, which is a lovely neighborhood, it is right next to the lake, very central, you are generally paying much more than if you were to move a little bit outside of the center. So if you were to move to Earlycon, for the same amount of square meters, you would pay, let's say, at least 800 francs less per month. And in terms of cost savings, that is huge. That is an enormous amount of money, and that's already the amount that you'd need to invest a pretty decent amount per year. So if we just look at third pillar, so if you don't invest money and you would like to, I think for the vast majority of people here in Switzerland, it would make sense for you to first start maxing out your third pillar, which is your private pension account that is tax advantaged. So I also pulled up some stats on the third pillar here in Switzerland, and only 45% of the eligible working population fully maxes out their third pillar every year. And what is that going to cost you? So I've just pulled up like 3 different income brackets. If you are earning 80,000 a year, you would save 1,600 francs per year by maxing out your third pillar. If you were earning 120,000 a year, you would save 2,030 francs. And if you were earning 180,000 a year, you would save 2,470 francs per year. Now, if you were to keep maxing out your third pillar, then at the 80,000 franc salary in 25 years, you would have saved 40,000 francs. At 120,000, you would save 50,000 francs. And at the 180,000 franc salary, you would have saved 61,000 francs over 25 years of maxing it out. So here we're only talking about the savings from taxes. So that's what you can save. Then by keeping your living costs low and investing that money instead, you could stand, let's say that we use the 800 francs saved per month. If we were to invest that amount for 10 years in an index fund that tracks the market, so we'll set it at 7%. I know this example that I'm pulling up on the screen uses dollars, but we're gonna just think in francs. This is the amount that we would make. So not only do you have those monthly savings in terms of what you would otherwise spend on rent, but the compounding over time would allow you to make a lot more money. And it would be advantageous to do this through the third pillar. So let's say you were to save 800 per month in rent and then max out your third pillar and put that towards, index funds that track the market. They would roughly amount to these sorts of amounts over the same time. Now, of course, in your third pillar, you can only take that out 5 years prior to the official retirement age. Obviously, that can change if you're young. You know, there's plenty of time for them to, first of all, change the retirement age, but secondly, also to change the law. But as it stands now, it is retirement age here in Switzerland is 65. So you would be allowed to start taking out your third pillar contributions at the age of 60. Two things that I would mention here as caveats to the third pillar strategy is, one, if you're on a B permit, you really need to look into whether it makes any sense for you. If you're on a B permit and earn less than 120,000, you're not usually going to have yearly tax filing. So you will be taxed at source or be in this Quellensteuer system. And so it might not make sense for you. So you need to look that up based on your individual situation. I mean, these are just sort of averages that apply to the general population. Obviously, you have to check based on your individual system. You need to do some due diligence and check these things. But I want to highlight that these systems do exist for you to take advantage of them. Then the second point that I wanted to highlight is that once you take out the third pillar, you can't take out a portion of it. You have to take out the entire account. And so if you're maxing it out every year, after it hits a certain amount, you might want to open a new one at another bank or brokerage. Because if you have all of your third pillar contributions in one account, once you take all of that out in just 1 year, it's going to hike up your taxes during that year. So you have basically 5 years to take them out, starting 5 years prior to the official retirement age, and then you have to take out the entire amount. So it makes sense to spread them out and stagger it like that. But I hope these 2 tips gave you something to think about, because I, for one, was very shocked to read the stats, because I thought more people were actually maxing out their third pillars in Switzerland, but that is not the case. And I'm shocked that so much of people's life savings are parked in cash, because it's kind of a waste. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.